This chapter served as a great wrap-up to the first phase of the Chunin Exam, and I just really liked how Ibiki broke down and explained why they did everything they did. Naruto number 44, the talents we test for.
Well, hello my brothers and sisters and prospective Chunin of the Naruto Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and currently test-driven, kind of mind-fuckingly good tale of Naruto. Now, the last chapter, of course, saw us with really Ibiki going and coming out and telling them that the 10th question, what the 10th question was, and that had kind of hung in the air for several chapters before. And everything that they built up to as far as the first 9 questions, the kind of being forced, their hand being forced as far as having to kind of cheat and everything else, all led up to that moment. And the 10th question is, do you want to take the 10th question and accept it? If you can't, you know, you can never retake, and you'll remain at this level for the rest of your life if you cannot answer it properly, or you can give up now and live to fight another day, so to speak, be able to come back and be able to do it. So out of everyone that was there, there was 78 that actually, you know, because these are cell teams of 3, that actually chose to accept the 10th question. There was no 10th question. The 10th question is whether you'd accept it or not, and boom, they passed, right? So that's how things left off. And that's right where things pick up. And to tell you the truth, several people like Sakura and some of the people that are a little bit brainier and that worked really hard for this are pretty pissed off about this whole situation. And Ibiki explains, though, he says, listen, he says, the way it was set up here is that we gave you the first 9 questions. They were set to be, first of all, being a ninja, you have to learn about spying, espionage, everything like that. And you have to know how to do it without people being, you know, without getting caught, right? So what I liked about this chapter is he goes and he explains why he did this. Because remember, this is his first year taking over the exam, so it's very cool to see his whole thought process behind it and what went into it. And it's really, really sharp if you think about it. So you want these junior level ninja, right? These prospective Chunin, to be able to go and be able to spy on someone, but the information that you gather from spying is only good if you're not discovered. If you're discovered, you can be caught. They can obviously change the plans to throw you off because they know that you overheard. There's a lot of different things that go into it. So he explains the first 9 questions were basically like next level stuff anyway. Most people at their level would not know the answers. So what it did is it forced their hand to cheat. And then he explained about the whole cheating rule and everything else. And the whole idea was we wanted you to cheat. We wanted you to be able to gather information. They actually planted a couple people too that were already the Chunin level, you know, that had passed and whatnot. That kind of came in there and posed as they knew all the answers, so they'd have people to copy off of and stuff like that, you know. And then of course there's people like Sakura that probably actually knew quite a few of the answers, if not all of them. Nonetheless, though, the majority of the people that were there, of the prospective Chunin that were there, were forced. Their hand was forced. They had to cheat. But he wanted them to do it in a not so obvious way. So that's why they had, obviously, all the examiners kind of sitting around, proctors, they call them, watching for people cheating. And if you cheated too much and had those points deducted, 2 for each instance where they caught you cheating, you'd be thrown out because, hey, listen, dude, we want you to be a good cheater. We want you to be able to infiltrate things good. But if the enemy notices you ain't worth the shit, you're not ready to do it, right? So that kind of, that helped to thin out the herd a little bit, right? And then ultimately, so then they're asking, well, what about, and then the whole time, of course, Naruto's just like, yeah, I knew that, you know, blah, 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 I knew what was going on. And he didn't know shit, it's okay, that's fine. Even Sasuke's like, Jesus, you know. So we wind up getting, you know, well, what about the 10th question then? What was the 10th question all about? So the 10th question was about this. You had the opportunity, when you're out on missions, there may be times where you have to move forward and it's unknown. You don't have intelligence on where you're going, on the people that you're looking into or whatever, right? So that's all what that kind of cloak and dagger, smoke and mirrors type of stuff is about. It's the unknown. You don't know, right? I mean, you always see these spy movies and it's like, oh, you know, for the CIA and everything like that. And it's like, okay, well, if you, you know, they'll say things to the effect of, if you get caught, we'll deny your existence or that your affiliation is with our government, you know? And that's that whole unknown factor, you know what I mean? You go in, you have to be good at what you do. And second of all, you have to be able to assimilate and get in there and get out. Otherwise, you may never come back. And that's just kind of my comparison of it. But the point is that he brings up about the 10th question is that those that were willing to move forward, even though into the unknown, right? And the unknown, they gave them an impossible decision is what they gave you. You can quit and live to fight or to take the test another day, right? But now you're screwed for this year, so your hopes and dreams and all that stuff, they're shattered for the next year, right? Go train harder, learn more, be better. Or if you went forward and took it, but and accepted that 10th question, then didn't get it right, now you can never ever test and get above that level. You're stuck in that position for the rest of your life, right? So it was an impossible decision. It was a decision that there was no real right answer for. However, the reason that the people that, the students that did say they'd accept the 10th question automatically passed and went on to the next one without actually getting a 10th question is because they were willing to risk the unknown. They were willing to risk moving forward into the unknown. And that's what they're looking for. They're looking for someone that can say, hey, you know, geez, I think I can maybe get some more information, but I'm going to have to go into this area or look at this person. I don't have any intel on him. I don't know anything about him. It's not safe, right? But that's what they want you to be able to do, is to have the balls to be able to say, you know what? I'm going to go and try anyway. I'm going to go and see what I can find out about this. So it was very cool. And then as Ibiki is telling him all this, he goes and he pulls off his hood that he had over as a kind of hat type thing. And you see all these marks and shit on his head. It looked as if he was tortured, obviously, this guy before. And he was explaining, he goes, because espionage can be very dangerous. If you get caught, if you're not good at obviously cheating, you know, looking at things, spying on things, you can get caught. And then, of course, too, you can get tortured for information and everything else. And that's like the unknown part about it. You know, you may get captured, you may get killed, you may get beaten, tortured. And this dude's got like marks in his head that I think it's Sasuke that actually mentions, you know, it says, oh man, it looks like he had like screws put in his head, you know, like drilled into his skull maybe or something for torture. They probably drilled him in a little bit, left him there, you know, but didn't let him bleed out. You know, it looked like he was burned and all kinds of other stuff. So the whole moral of it for me, and what I really like about it, is that this first phase was really about weeding out the ones that are just not ready yet, the ones that are really just not cut out for this, at least at this point yet, right? And those ones that were willing to move forward, that 78, those cells, how many ever that winds up being, what is that, 27, I think, 27 cells. You know, those cells were willing to go and move on. And the thing that he mentioned too was how they explained about how it was a team type of thing. It automatically put everybody in a position of being careful and not wanting to fail and let down their teammates. So it was very cool how he did it. And then as well as at the end about the 10th question, accepting it or not, it wasn't just you accepting it or not. If you decided to go and chicken out and say, I can't do this, right? Your whole team was disqualified. And in Sakura's case, she was about to raise her hand thinking she was saving Naruto's ass, right? So it was very, very well done, and it's very clever as far as, well, at least as far as I'm concerned. I'm just totally excited about seeing what else they're going to throw at us in these exams, because this is just the first phase, man. It's just phase 1. So anyway, then after everybody's kind of reveling in their glory and happy that they moved on and passed, all of a sudden, man, just come flying in like a bat out of hell comes the examiner for the second phase, and it looks like it's a female examiner. I'm assuming the way it looks and everything. You can sometimes you can never presume anything until you actually see some tits. But nonetheless, though, Anko, I believe is her name, and she kind of comes in and she seems like she's gonna be the. It's kind of funny because Ibiki was sort of like, you know, he was like the good cop and the bad cop. He started out being kind of the bad cop, the gruff, mean guy, you know. But then once he saw the cream of the crop and the ones that were gonna move forward, then he was kind of lightened up and he was smiling and joking around and being cool with them. Whereas this Anko comes in and she's just like 78. You know, how many Patterson? And he says, you know, 78. And she's like, 27 cells? She's like, really? Jesus, you must have really... I'll cut that down by half before this thing is done. And Sakura's thinking in her head, really? By half? That's the type of mentality that I don't like. Now, whether she's a fair examiner or not, I don't know yet. I'll reserve judgment on that. But I hate that type of mentality, because there's teachers out there that are like that are like, you know what? I'm going to fail a certain amount of students. No matter what, I'm going to make sure that I make this class hard enough that a certain percentage fails because I believe that they're not smart enough to move on. And there's teachers like that out there. There's bosses out there like that, training people that train people for new jobs. Oh yeah, you know, 50 of you started out over here, but you know, the statistics say that only about 35 of you will wind up making it to the end and passing the month-long course or whatever. And it's their job, obviously, to weed out the ones, the pretenders, the ones that can't handle it. But at the same time, you get some of these people that get a little bit hungry with the power, and they get a big head about themselves, and they feel like, and I didn't like that statement, you know, by the end of it, I'll cut this down by half. That's bullshit. By the end of it, you should cut it down by whoever doesn't belong there. That's what should have been said. So I don't know if she's going to be a total cold-hearted bitch and try to intentionally screw people over just because she doesn't like them or whatever. I don't know. But nonetheless, though, we kind of see that, and that's how the chapter starts to wrap up. She goes and tells everybody to prepare. We're getting ready for the second phase. They go to the second phase site, and it's this nice double-page spread over here. And it was, let me see if I can find it real quick. And I thought it was really cool looking the way they set it up. So there we go. Yep. So. Yeah, her name is, okay, that's it. Yeah, I did get that right. Anko. And, let's see. Whoops. Last page here. And this is cool. This is the Forest, let's see here, the second train. Oh, Forest of Death. I knew that's what it was called. But so they got fences up and stuff around this, like, giant, crazy, like, just mythical-looking forest over here with these big, gnarled, like, swamp-looking trees and everything in there. And apparently that's where the second phase is going to take place. And you got all the fences up, the no trespassing, you know, trespass at your own risk, you may die, that sort of thing. So very, very cool stuff, and I'm looking forward to the next phase of this Chunin exam, man. And what a great way to end things. So to kind of wrap things up for that first phase. So my chapter question for you, though, brothers and sisters, is what were your thoughts on Ibiki and his explanation of the 10th question, and really his breakdown and explanation of the entire first phase of this exam? Do you think that it was fair? Do you think that it was kind of cheap? Do you think that they were just mind fucking people unnecessarily? Personally, I think that it was done very well, and I think that was a great way at the beginning to kind of weed out some of the potential Chunin that just aren't there yet. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what he said. But let me know what your thoughts are and your answer in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next Fun Nation.
Remember to follow me on the Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and hell, even my other channel.